All right, I'm set up for sealer. Got the fenders masked off. I decided to use a value shade number 5 for the hood. That way it's only one shade off from the fender primer that I've got on here already, and then it's only one shade off from the car. So it's kind of a happy medium. I'm gonna go ahead and get this sprayed on, let this sit for a while till it flashes off before I pull the paper, just so I don't damage any of it. And then I'll get to putting the 222S on to blend, and then I'll add the base coat. All right, I've got the hood masked off just so I don't get unnecessary overspray onto it with the 222S. It'd be okay if I got it on there, but I don't want to make the surface any rougher than I have to, so I'm just going to mask the areas where I'm going to put the adhesion promoter, which is just the back halves of the fenders. I'm going to get that in the gun. I'll be right back. Okay, you only have 2 hours to clear over that or to top coat it. So I've got to make sure I get everything on it and ready to clear within 2 hours. What I want to do is take the paper that I've got on there, I'll just flip it around, I'll stick it to the fender, get one good coat on the hood, then I'll pull the paper off and then start the blend going back to cover this primer here. So I'll just take the paper I've already got on there that I'm using now, I'll just pull it off, stick it on the fender as soon as that's dry. Takes probably a good 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that I don't leave any tape marks in it. All right, it's ready for base. It's only about 66 or 67 degrees in here, so it's not quite warm enough to use a slower base. I like to use a slower base on the blend areas, but it'll take forever to dry on the hood, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use the medium temperature reducer for the base coat and put a coat on here, then I'll pull the paper off, re-tack the fenders and put a blend, what will essentially be a blend coat over the primer to get that started and get it covered. But that looks to be covering really well, so we'll go ahead and start the fenders. That's looking pretty good. I think when I go back over the hood again, it'll be covered, and I'll just hit the tops of the fenders when I do that, and then work the blend out a little bit after that. I think my compressor might be off. Let me go check it. It was. I turned it off earlier to drain it so it wouldn't start running in my ear. So we'll give it just a second. I need to keep the hood wet though. I might have to just keep going. All right, I'm gonna give it just a couple minutes and I'll do a drop coat and that should be good. It looks to be laying out pretty nicely. Let it dry and see what it looks like. All right, time for clear. One more coat. Well, I forgot to give you a shot before I unmasked it. I've started putting headlights back in. The drop coat actually blended out pretty nicely. Didn't have to thin the base coat out. So after I did the drop coat, I was done with it. I couldn't see the blend, so I just left it. I've polished these headlights, getting ready to put them back in. They were a little bit faded or dull, whatever you want to call it. Color looks good. This one on the driver's side had a broken tab at the bottom where this mounts into the fender down here. So I'm going to sandblast. I may have to take this bracket off here, but I may leave it there just to locate it. I'm going to sandblast all around this thing here where I can put some adhesive on it and sandblast the light, and then mount it back in place where it goes, and tape it in place and just inject a bunch of universal adhesive, which is kind of like a quick panel bond. I've got the universal 8217 clear, which is, I've marked it as runny, which is it is runny, and I've got a universal 8223 that's heavy bodied, so I'll be using this. But I can take this and just, if I've got the tab taped in, I can just inject this around where I need it to go behind the tape. And of course I've also got panel bond, but right here, but that takes forever to cure, so this will be fast enough and give me plenty of time to work. I think it's about 3 to 5 minutes. So this will go back here, then I can mount this light. I've got it polished, ready to go, and then it'll go. All right, I've got it where I actually was able to clamp it on. I sandblasted the pieces individually so that I would have full access to each spot. And all this in here where it looks gray is just etched with actually crushed glass and my little hand blaster. So I'm going to get some adhesion promoter right here and put on it and let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll just take the glue and just inject it all around here, maybe spread it around with a brush or something like that if I can't get to all of it. Alright, I'm having to do the bumper separately. I'm going to put a coat of adhesion promoter on most of the front of this thing just to make sure that it stays on here. This is the car I had the issue with the paint peeling about a year or two ago. Ended up having to replace it, so I've gotten in the habit of putting adhesion promoter on it, pretty much any bumper, whether it's primed or not. I've got to go get dressed for the occasion. I'll be right back with the sealer. Alright, this is Flex Sealer with a value shade 5. Little spot of something in the factory primer there. I'm going to have to get out real quick. All right, that'll get one more coat and a drop coat just like the car did, so it'll match. This is the first coat of clear. All right, I'll give you a shot of it when it's done. All right, guys, just got to put it back together. Just a quick walk around. Ended up buffing the hood out a little bit. Got a little more dust in it than I like to have normally. He's about to come pick it up in just a minute here. See y'all on the next one.